Then there's witches. Witches. Now that we've been through the 1950s, it makes a little bit more sense than before. You guys read The Crucible? Okay, then you know about this, okay? The Crucible is not about the Salem witchcraft trials. It's about Joseph McCarthy in the 1950s, okay? But he used the Salem witchcraft trial as a way that people can use something to manipulate, okay? And that's what happened here. This is nothing more than a power play. There's some Puritans that wanted one man's land and things like this. All they had to do is say, witch, okay? And to think about it, if you're a witch, think about how this works as far as jurisprudence goes. If you're a witch, okay, remember in the United States, you're innocent until proven guilty. Not in this. When you're a witch, you're a witch. You've got to prove you're not. How do you prove you're not a witch? Think about it. Well, I can't ride on the broom, you know, and things like that. So in other words, this is pretty much trapping somebody into being convicted of a crime, okay? The witchcraft trials were nothing more than people using an accusation to get what they want. A lot like McCarthy did in the 1950s and people like that. Again, and this is important, it's an application of power based on religion. People were so paranoid in Salem that they were scared to go out of their houses. If you make the wrong, and remember, it was teenage girls that started this. If you make the wrong kid mad and somebody yells witch and everything, they'll believe that young, innocent, pure child who hasn't been soiled by the evils of the world. They'll believe the kid. Next thing you know, you've got some woman hanging because of it. So this again is another manipulation of it. It's something we don't like to talk about, but it's something that's in front of us. People will use anything. Some people will use anything to manipulate. Okay? Some people use love to manipulate. Okay? Some people use military power. Some people use religion. Okay? And that is part of the human condition. The more pious people are, the more they believe in their religion, the more susceptible they are to being manipulated. And that's something you can kind of back up with this stuff. That's a good argument. Okay? Remember, in America, we've got freedom of religion. We can believe how we want to. Okay? Okay. Here we go. This is the revolution that Anne Hutchinson started. It's a biggie. It's important when you look at the First Great Awakening, look at it through the lenses of an antinomian revolution. This is the result of that crack. This is the result of the halfway covenant. More than anything else, and guys, this is something you may see on the test. It pops up from time to time. More than anything else, this is what happens when you introduce religious freedom into a very tight theocracy like Massachusetts Bay. People, guys, the most intoxicating drug on earth is freedom. Okay, it's something once you get a taste, you can never get over. You get addicted to it. And once these people in Massachusetts Bay started listening to Anne Hutchinson, and think about this, first of all, they got intoxicated with it. It spread and spread and spread until you had people all over New England waking up and seeing the light. And that's called the First Great Awakening. It is a revolution. It's a revolution of religious freedom. That's the way we put it. Okay? We talked about two preachers. Whoops. Okay, Brett, we got it away. Okay? First of all, this is what they're saying here. Human beings are sinning. The reason that you had the halfway covenant is because young Puritans didn't want to be Puritan to the faith. They wanted to pursue material interest. And as long as you're sinning, you are going to go to hell. Okay? Unless you accept God. This is basic revivalism, no matter what religion you have. If you don't turn to God and Jesus, then you're going to go to hell. That's all there is to it. So they're reiterating that. They're saying, okay, look at all the problems we're having in this community right here. Look at people coveting other people's land and having them killed for it. We're all sinners. And if we don't stop and turn back and get right with God, we're all going to hell. So they're going to call everybody back to the basics of their faith. Okay? This is a big deal. Okay? This is an antinomian revolution. All right? Your emotion is more important than your intellect. In other words, just because you might have gone to Oxford or Harvard and you may have gotten this degree in divinity and you're a preacher, that doesn't mean you have a head start going into heaven than somebody that loves God with all their heart. Okay? So God gave human beings emotion. They gave them the ability to speak, to sing joyous praises to the Lord. He says that in the Bible. So do it. That's what they're saying here. Your emotion, when you sit here and praise your God with emotion, that's more important than how many tests you passed in college. Okay? This is what it's going to result in. It is going to rip the Congregationalist church in half. It's like an earthquake. You're going to have some people that want to stay with the original faith. They want to maintain the city on the hill. Okay? These are old conservative people. They're called old lights. Okay? So people that want to stay with the basic faith and they want to stay true to the Puritan church are called old lights. You would call these guys old farts. They were the elders. They were the ones that had been there with John Winthrop. They want nothing to change. They're conservatives. Okay. The others, the young people, people that want to go out and express themselves to God, that want to sit there and worship God on their terms, are called the new lights. Okay? So you're looking at a generational thing. And what's more important here, and this is because you guys know this very well, look at the pyramid. Which part of the pyramid is going to be the old lights, top or bottom? Top. The wealthy people. Okay, that's how they build their fortunes. The bottom part, the yeomen, are going to be the new lights. Look which one is larger. That's why this is a revolution. A lot of people will revolt against the steadfast concepts of Puritan New England, and they will bolt. This is just as much of a revolution as the American Revolution was, but it's not violent. Is everybody? It's a social revolution. Social revolution is a wonderful term you could put in an AP exam if they like to see, and it is, because you're changing the makeup of something. Okay? That's called plurality. Remember, guys, the analogy we had, if you're holding a plate and you drop it and it shatters, okay, that's what happened. The plate is the Puritan faith. You dropped it and all of a sudden, Baptist, Methodist, Presbyterians, all these denominations come out of it. So the First Great Awakening is going to break all this. It's going to result in antinomianism being the dominant faith in the United States. It is still today. That's why it's such a big deal. Okay. Something else before we leave it. Remember, this is only about New England. This is regionalized. It's centered on the Puritan church. The next Great Awakening we talk about, the Second Great Awakening won't be like that. It'll be a larger one. Okay? So this is pretty much the revolution for antinomianism. These two guys you might need to know, okay, if you see them. You may see a document by them. Jonathan Edwards tried to persuade his congregations through fear. Sinners in the hands of an angry God. Did you guys read that in English this year? Parts of it? You read part of it on my test, I know. Okay. It's an amazing speech. Okay, it's a sermon pretty much, and he will scare the bejesus out of you. And if you're someone who lives your faith, okay, you come out of guys. People freaked out when they heard this. They absolutely freaked out when they heard this. It's very, very, because people are questioning their faith because of all this stuff. And now he comes and tells everybody you're nothing more than just on a web that God is holding above the abyss of hell. All he's got to do is let go. Look at how puny you are. Look at how worthless you are. And you have not earned God's grace. You have not earned the right for God to hold you in the palm of his hand. What you've earned is for him to let you fall into the abyss of hell. And that's what he's telling. And people start thinking, oh my God, what sins have I committed? Oh my God, I'm going to hell. Okay? So it was very effective. All right? But it was mostly effective on older people. Okay? This guy is the rock star. This is the one that appealed to younger people. He was an evangelist, which typically means he took his act on the road. Jonathan Edwards had a congregation. Okay, he had a church. But George Whitefield took his act on the road. He was British, he was English. And that gave him sort of an aura that other American preachers didn't have. He was from England. He was bringing this new glamorous message. He was to those people like the Beatles were to America. Okay, they were exotic. Okay, and they had a new message no one had heard. And what George Whitefield said was, you know, if you want to get on your hands and knees and cry and claw yourself and praise God, then do it. Praise God the way you want to. He gave you the facilities to make noise and things like that. Praise God in your own way. Don't let some old man tell you what to do. Okay? You work what works for you. That's the very soul of antinomianism. So as an evangelist, when he said, be emotional. Be emotional. Be who you are. God made you separate because he appreciates you being separate. So be that separate person. Okay? And that's what kids want to hear. Young people want to be themselves. They don't want to be copies of their parents and grandparents. So he is pushing a major button here. And all this pretty much does, the result of these two men, especially Whitefield, is this antinomian revolution is going to spread like wildfire. It will go all over the Pennsylvania now. It will actually creep down to Maryland and cause some trouble there. It's kind of cool if you think about it. It's kind of neat. I haven't told Ms. Hanson this. I think I told you guys. A couple of years ago, we were supposed to sign the books over summer, and the book I wanted to sign was called The Naked Quaker. Okay? And I said, The Naked Quaker, I want to read that. You know, and what it was about strange punishments and things that were given out in colonial America to people who broke the law, okay? The Naked Quaker is about a Puritan man who married a Quaker woman, okay? And they moved to Massachusetts, and they didn't tell anybody she was a Quaker because it was illegal to be, okay? So they would go to Puritan church every Sunday, okay? And she started getting mad because the preacher would go up there and he would damn everybody to hell, then damn Quakers to hell, then damn everybody, and damn Quakers, and everybody, and Quakers, and Quakers, and Quakers, and Quakers. Okay? So she finally got mad. So to protest his rage against Quakers, they went there one morning. She stood in the middle of the church and took all her clothes off. Butt naked. In Puritan New England. Okay. And of course, that's something that, like that. She was put in prison and sentenced to die because of that. Her husband and his brothers broke her out of jail, and they went back to Pennsylvania where they wouldn't be prosecuted. Okay? And that's just how intolerant they were. And Mr. Herb said it wasn't appropriate. And that just bugged me because it's funny. Okay, but anyway. Just keep in mind, this right here is important. In America today, okay, one thing we cherish no matter what race, ethnicity you are, is the fact that we can worship the God of our choice. Our religious freedom is very basic and sacred to us, okay? This is where it comes from. So if you have to write a context to American religion, this will help you. Everybody? Good so far. Okay.